Hello. Now in this vlog again I want to piggyback of what we did off of the last vlog. In that last vlog we kind of deconstructed and divided these issues between what's evil and what's scary. Now the obvious place I want to go with that right now is apply it to ghost hunting. Now historically speaking, hauntings are usually associated with horror movies. They're usually supposed to be scary. And so investigating these hauntings as a ghost hunter is kind of more of a dangerous profession. And so it's presented that way as exciting and dangerous for television. And that's why we're getting all these ghost hunting teams on television presenting themselves like badasses, going out in the dark, investigating this dark and creepy stuff. I was one of them. I totally know. Badass, right? Yeah. Yeah. How you doing? So in our present state of media-driven ghost popularity right now, we have these recurring ideas about how dangerous it is to ghost hunt. Now before I start this, I really do want to emphasize the point that there absolutely are real dangers out there, and everything I say in this vlog can have an asterisk footnote that says, unless you're dealing with something actually dangerous. That said, real dangers of ghost hunting are very, very rare. And if you'd like to understand more of what those dangers actually look like, read this book. Or this book. Or even this book. Now these books do examine things in Christian terms, so whether or not that's your cup of tea, you'll have to kind of gauge as you go, but it's talking about real issues and real things that are happening, and they're absolutely worth a look. At least as far as we know. But what I want to look at right now is actually deconstructing these popularly held ideas of what actually is evil on a ghost hunt. So let's look at evil situation number 1. A spirit following you home. Now everyone's been super freaked out about this lately. It's usually like the number 2 questions that people ask para-celebrities at the events and stuff. They're like, has anything ever followed you home? It's a really interesting idea to have something follow you home, and I can understand that that's kind of freaky. But there's not necessarily anything to worry about with that. Now I understand that you might want to keep your home life and your work life very separate. You don't want to have ghosts and stuff in your house, especially if it becomes a really popular place and all kinds of stuff is building up and going crazy in there. However, because most of the stuff that we deal with are just human spirits, it's not necessarily scary when something follows you home, it's awkward. Now most spirits that we deal with are human spirits, and so if they actually follow you home, it's usually because they like you or they want something from you. Now the former is awkward if you don't want a new roommate. Now the latter, on the other hand, isn't necessarily frightening either. Just watch The Sixth Sense again and play cool. Now just like a regular human being, things always get worse when you don't treat them with respect. Now if you don't want them there, ask them politely to leave. If they still don't leave, being assertive goes a long, long way. Evil situation number 2 comes off of the first one, anything ghostly going on at your house. Now same goes, it's your house, so you don't necessarily want to deal with ghosts in your own house, dealing with the energy drains and getting creeped out and trying to figure out what's what. Now just because you see a creepy figure standing near your bed at night, or just because you get a bad feeling, or maybe even hear something like a growl, doesn't necessarily mean that whatever you're dealing with is evil. Now again, we go back to this distinction. Ghosts have to manifest somehow. And usually it's what we've decided is creepy, you know? If a spirit walks into your bedroom at night and you see this black mask standing there, creepy. But maybe the spirit's just like, hello, I'm a spirit, I'm here. Maybe being it's the nighttime, maybe that's an easier time for them to manifest and come through to us. And they're not just being a creeper and like watching you sleep. And the dark feelings that we often get sometimes around spirits might be natural conditions of their manifestation. I talked about ions in the last vlog. Or it's just some kind of an energy drain where they might be trying to do something and using some of our own human energy to do it. And that doesn't always feel necessarily super positive, but it's not really antagonistic or malevolent in any ways. Even growls don't necessarily have to be super weird. I mean, you know, it could just be trying to get your attention, or it could be the spirit of your neighbor's dog, which would be really annoying because that thing yaps all day, I swear. Or maybe it's just a ghost with really bad indigestion. But demons, as it turns out, aren't the only things in the spirit world who growl. No, in fact, even the stuff that seems most like it is actually evil doesn't necessarily have to be evil. Now, I'm going to tell you a story that I can't for the life of me find the source of on the internet anymore. Now, I believe it was from Andy Kopic and Michelle Brown. I think they were telling this story on one of their blog posts or videos or something like that, but I can't find it. So if you guys know anything about the source of this video, definitely let me know, because I do want to attribute it in the right place. But the story goes that a couple investigators were checking out this old abandoned hospital in California, and they're down in the basement where apparently a really nasty spirit likes to hang out. He throws stuff around, he's cursing, he's really pissed. And a lot of ghost shows would probably be like, ah, it's a demon, we gotta yell at it and stir it up and see if we can get something to happen. Which is cool and all, but you kind of want to find out what's going on, right, as a serious ghost hunter. And so they check it out and they say, you know what, dispense with the bull, stop throwing things around, stop cursing at us, and tell us what's going on right now. And they started getting this communication back and forth with the spirit. And what they learned was there was actually a patient who was at the hospital. He went in for surgery in the 60s or the 70s or so. And he wound up dying on the operator table because the doctor made a mistake. And so he lingered around to try to scare as many people away from the hospital as he could so that the same thing wouldn't happen to them. So he's a spirit who actually sees the whole hospital as still fully functioning the way it was when he was alive, and he doesn't see it as run down and decrepit the way that it is now. Now this is a classic example of a spirit that seems really, really negative, but totally has very human problems that it's dealing with. And most of the spirits that we have here are human spirits dealing with very similar problems. Now I really do believe that there's actually something to that idea that if a spirit is still here, they do have some kind of unfinished business. And if they have that kind of unfinished business, it's usually kind of an emotional issue, that they're upset about something or they're still attached to something. And sometimes that can manifest in kind of a negative way. So before you freak out about something, first try to understand what's going on and then be confident, be assertive, be respectful. Now this works really well both ways, because if it's a spirit that needs help from you, they are upset about something, being respectful and communicating about it goes a very long way. But at the same time, if you happen to have run across a very negative spirit who just wants bad things to happen, who just wants bad things from you, usually it seems like they kind of want to stir up negative emotions in you to drain that energy from you. It feeds them, it makes them feel better. If you can stay confident, if you can stay with a positive attitude, and you can stay respectful, there's not going to be anything there for them to drain from you, and the situation starts to fizzle from the very start. Now for evil situation number 4 that I want to talk about, I'm actually going to leave it for next week's vlog because there's a lot to consider with it. It's a topic that every time I bring it up, most people freak out. They're so scared of this stuff. 4 out of 5 investigators and enthusiasts are like, nope, I'm not touching that. It's the portal to hell. I'm not even going to do it. Even just talking about it makes me get all possessed and stuff. That topic, if you couldn't guess, is it's the Ouija board. Alright, thank God, my house didn't burn down just for mentioning it. But this is a topic that has a lot of different angles on it. There's some good, there's some bad, there's different perspectives, there's good perspectives, all kinds of different stuff. Needs its whole vlog for it. So next week, I will be talking about that next Wednesday or Thursday or so when I do get the vlog up. That will be the topic. You can always hit me up on Twitter at Karl Pfeiffer. You can find me on the website www.karlpfeiffer.com. You can leave a comment in the comment section down below on the YouTube video or the blog. And of course, if you guys want to check out any of the other videos, I'll give links right here to the most recent 2. Right here. It's very nice. Feel free to click on either of those here. And until then, I'll be seeing you guys next week.